time in our service, it's time for prayer and meditation as we come together as a spiritual community. We close our outer eyes. We turn our awareness within to that quiet, still place within our hearts. That place where we connect with the divine in unconditional love. Together, we are one community. Together, we can create a place of peace for all. At the center of our being, we connect with the Spirit of the living God. And that seed that was implanted in our hearts before we were born, in our souls, deep in our souls, we connect with the Spirit of God. In this connection, we are uplifted. We are inspired. The Spirit fills us with divine energy to do the things that are to be done by us. We are illumined with God's great light. It shines in us and through us and around us. This light, this connection with God is there always. It brings to us our greater good. It brings us into prosperity. It creates a vision for the kind of life we truly want to live. As we are inspired, we inspire all of those around us just by simply being. Being our greatness and living from that greatness. We use our gifts and talents to create a beautiful place to live, a planet that works for all because we come in love. In this place of pure awareness, we overcome everything that's less than love. We overcome anything that holds us back because we were created good. We were created whole. We were created to live a life filled with health, filled with prosperity, filled with loving relationships. And as we move more deeply into the silence, we remember that we are love. From this place of unconditional love, it is our point of power to be all that we were created to be, to let go of anything that no longer serves us, to renew our consciousness, filling our mind with divine ideas, filling our heart with the light of the living, loving God, so that we are regenerated into truly the divine beings we have come here to be. Thank you, God, for this time and space. Thank you for living in this now moment. We are grateful for this community of people who come and worship together to know our own divine potential more fully. And so in gratitude, we say thank you, and it is so. Amen. So I am Reverend Lori Fleming. I live in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I love to come up to the mountains and be with you on a Sunday morning. It's just so great to be here. Thank you for inviting me. My talk this morning is entitled Release, Renew, and Regenerate. Doesn't that sound like a great topic for spring? In the valley, all the Palo Verde trees are blooming. They're brilliant yellow. And I can sit on the sofa in my family room. I have a big picture window. And I see those yellow flowers and the green bark on the tree and the blue sky. And I'm reminded that God is right here and right now. In the springtime, what do? We clean up, we paint up, we fix up. I mean, you guys have had a pretty mild winter, right? So you've been able to be outside. But I know some people, especially if you've lived up in New England, my brother lives in New Hampshire, worst winter they've ever had. He shovels his roof. Oh, that's bad, right? That's bad. Well, it's time to let go of everything in your life that no longer serves you. I'm going to ask a question, and you don't have to respond unless you want to. How many of you have a closet at home that needs a little work? I hear that groan, right? Well, I have a pile of stuff in my garage. Because, I couldn't not start my closet if I was going to talk to you about that, right? I have to practice what I preach. I have a pile in my garage of shoes and clothes and an old suitcase and stuff I'm getting ready to take up to Goodwill. That's the release part of my talk. Letting go. Cleaning out closets and drawers and anything that's full. Because when something is full, there's no space for anything else, right? When your closets are full, you can't get any new clothes. I have a rule that I only have so many coat hangers, and when I don't have any empty coat hangers, I have to get rid of something because I can't buy anything new. Okay? Well, it's just like my garden. I have these 3 raised bed gardens, and I got 2 of them planted this last week. On Tuesday, I planted little seeds, and you know what? The lettuce is already coming up. It's not even a whole week. If we can tap into that energy instead of holding on to the old stuff we have, if we can get rid of the old plants, let go of everything that doesn't serve us, we can let the new, that life force start to well up in us and create divine ideas that we can tap into to solve all the problems on the planet. Just gotta get rid of the old stuff first. I bought a chainsaw on a stick. It's awesome. This little 8-inch chainsaw. I have lemon tree and a grapefruit tree and an orange tree. And they had been trimmed in I don't know how long. I've been there 2 years and I've never trimmed them. So I got a book out and I read the book to see how you were supposed to trim them. And I got the chainsaw and I plugged it in and I'm hacking away. Before I knew it, I had the biggest pile of stuff. I had to leave a note to the lawn guys because it was more than they could take away in 1 week. And when I was finished with the trees, well, frankly, they looked like they had a bad haircut. But I did it the right way. I really did it the right way. But in about 3 or 4 days, this thing called geotrophism happened. You remember learning about that when you were like in the 5th grade? Geotrophism is the active life force in plants that causes them to grow towards the sun. So what happened, all the leaves and the limbs just managed to sort of move on their own and go towards the sun. They knew exactly what to do. And now the trees look really good. And I noticed that the flowers were falling off, and now there's this little tiny fruit all over the tree. Because when you cut off what doesn't serve you anymore, you allow for the new growth. That's what I want in my life. I want to release, I want to renew, and I want to regenerate. Clearing out the old also needs to happen in our minds and our hearts and our consciousness. Some of us, no one in this room, of course, but some of us are holding on to old ideas that no longer serve us, right? Maybe some anger, resentment, that kind of stuff. You have to let go of those old thoughts before the new thoughts can come in and work through your life so you can create what it is you really want. There was a student who every morning he went to sit at the feet of the monk, and he was learning to be a monk. He was getting instruction, and he had a really busy mind. It was full of all kinds of things. And he would come in and he would sit down at the monk's feet, and it would be like, hurry up, tell me, what is it I need to be enlightened? And the monk was very wise. So one morning, the student came in and sat down, and the monk invited him for tea. And the student was like, all right, okay, but just come on, let's just get on with this, He's not saying it, but it's going on in his mind. The monk picks up the teapot, and he prepares the tea, because the tea is a ritual in some cultures. And the student was just chafing at the bit, just perking like, come on, let's get this over with. And the monk was taking his old sweet time. Finally, the tea was ready, and he picked up the teapot, and he started pouring it into the cup, and pouring it into the cup, and pouring it into the cup, and the cup started to overflow, and it was making this big mess. And finally, the student couldn't sit there quietly anymore and said, what are you doing? You're making a mess. And the monk said, this cup is like your mind. It's overflowing with all of the thoughts that you're holding. And until you can dump it out and make your mind empty, you're going to keep living the same mess in your life. You're going to keep repeating the same things over and over again until you clear out your consciousness, until you make your heart only loving, until you let go of everything that no longer serves you. So what's in your mind? Like what's in your wallet? What's in your mind? Ed Rabel was a Unity minister who taught at Unity School for a very long time. He was a very wise minister. He said that at the end of the day, everyone should discard any resentment they're holding, just like if you take off your clothes before you go to bed. I think that's a really good idea. What if every night you made some kind of ritual that you take any anger, any frustration, any resentment, and put it, maybe flush it down the toilet. That'd be a good way to get rid of it. Flush! I just thought of that. Release, renew, regenerate. Get rid of it some way. Continuing with our metaphor of the cup, being our mind, empty or full, I have a friend that wherever she goes, she takes a coffee cup with her because she likes to not use the styrofoam cups that fill up our landfill. But it's also a metaphor for staying open to new ideas, to new people, new relationships. Don't you want more loving people in your life? I know I do. There's lots of room in my life for more loving people. So the empty cup is staying open to new ideas. How many of you know people who are experts in their field? They know everything it is to know they've got that PhD behind their name, maybe even a couple of more letters, XYZ, I don't know what else. But there's no room in them to learn anything new. My husband is a dentist, and he has gone to more continuing education courses than anybody I know. And they're all very expensive. But he says, if I go to a course and I get one new idea that helps me be a better professional, it's worth it. And isn't that true? That one tiny little idea, can make all the difference in your life. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Because you know what? Infinite life is always ready to fill up our cup with growth, with development, with new ideas. If we're having a health challenge, tap into infinite life. It will return us to wholeness. Emptying that teacup at the end of the day, that's a really good idea. Maybe that's what you should do. Just dump it down the toilet. I like that. I think I may start doing that. But if there's anything in your mind that needs to be released, do it. Because you can't renew and you can't regenerate until you release everything. You know, some of the stuff we need to release comes in the physical form, like the stuff in your closet, and maybe you might even have a messy garage too, I don't know. But some of the stuff is that emotional stuff. Maybe you're angry at someone that you've been angry at for a long time. I hope not. But there might be someone in your life that you need to forgive. You might be carrying some resentment or maybe even some fear to try something new. We all have it. It's part of the human condition. Don't beat yourself up if you have it. I have it. Everybody has a little bit of it. But the key is to recognize that you have it so you can let it go. Because it isn't serving any of us. You all know what it is. I'm preaching to the choir here. The thing is that you can cleanse your house, your physical body house, the house you live in, your environment. You can cleanse it figuratively and literally. So how will you know that there are some things you need to release? Because some you might not recognize right away. You know, there might be things there that you're holding on to you really don't see. I bet your friends could tell you though. Yeah, I know. I talk to people, they tell me things. Now we all know that if we have too many clothes in our closet, we need to clean out our closet, right? You don't have enough space. And we all know that if our gardens get full of weeds, then we need to clean those out too, because the plants won't grow if we have weeds. But how many of us, not nobody here, but you might know some people, how many people are saying the same things right now that they've been saying for 10 years? Complaining about the same things they've been complaining about for 10 long years. We do that, don't we? We really do that. That might be a clue that you need to release something. Or how about you have trouble sleeping at night? Well, that could be because, first you have to take the laundry basket off the bed before you can get in it, and if there's clutter everywhere, I can't deal with that. I can't deal with clutter. As a matter of fact, when I was printing up my talk this morning, I'm looking at my desk thinking, wow, I gotta do something about this desk. Well, you have to practice what you preach, right? So do you lack focus? Okay, if you lack focus, your teacup may be full and overflowing. Your mind and heart may be full. Is your mind scattered? Sometimes because I'm not actively working in a church, I feel like I don't have a focus and that I am scattered because I don't have a place to go and a place to be. And I know sometimes people who are retired have that same kind of a thing. And I have to really say, okay, what is it I want to do today? Some days, I just sit and look at those beautiful trees. But that fills me up, It's okay to do that sometimes. When was the last time you spent any time by yourself? Do you like to be by yourself? I like me. I have fun being me. It's good to do that sometimes. All the busy chatter that people bring into your life, it's good to let that go. Well, we know that physical clutter can lead us to inertia. Inertia is that I'm going to sit here, I can't do anything, my mind's full, I can't think of anything, I'm just going to sit here. So it might be a good thing to get rid of the clutter. But any mental or emotional clutter, maybe being stuck in the past, you got to get rid of that. You can't live a peaceful life if you're stuck in the past. Spiritual clutter, the cup that's full, keeps you from being who you truly are. Because I know who you are. I know that you have the Spirit of the living God in you, and I know that you came here to create great things. All of you. So I'm asking you to release, which means going from giving up to opening up. Can you look at it that way? That instead of you're giving up something, you're opening up. Because when you open up, you become more expansive. And that's when all the good really, really happens. Then we can move from release to renewal. I like that word. Renew is good, I think. So the renewal is like spiritual pruning. When I trimmed those citrus trees, they didn't pout and say, boy, Lori really is mean. She cut our branches off. No, they didn't do that. They put their roots deep into the earth, and they pulled up the life force. They sealed off the ends of those branches that were cut. They put flowers out that's now turning into fruit. If you get cut off from something in your life, a relationship, or maybe there's lack, just don't look at that lack. Tap into that universal life force that's already in you that brings more and greater good into your life. That's what I'm about. You made a mistake in the past? So what? You've got good company. Every single person in this room made more than one. We did, didn't we? Learn the lesson. Try not to do it again. If you do it again, well, say, okay, I did it again, I won't do it next time. That's all you have to do in order to renew, is not keep making the same mistakes. Put it behind us. Now, some of you might say, well, you don't understand, Lori, because, you don't know what's happened to me. I've been in the abyss. I've had a dark night of the soul. Yeah, we all have. And you know what? That's okay, because when we come out of the abyss, when the dark night is over, we come out on higher spiritual ground. I'm going to say that again. When we come out of the abyss, we come out on higher spiritual ground. Because what has hurt you the most has made you the strongest. It can't not happen that way. It's really a beautiful thing. People who've had tremendous obstacles in their life that they've overcome, some of them have gone on to create some of the most amazing things that we can imagine. There's a little poem that I like to say. It's called, "Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift." That's why we call it the present. Yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery. Today is a gift. And that's why we call it the present. What are you going to do with your gift of this day? How are you going to make your life and the whole world better? It might just take one little compliment to someone that passes another thing on to another person to another person. It's all it takes is one loving thing. And when we grow spiritually, we become victorious over all the things that have happened to us in the past. And that's when we move into regeneration. When we become a fully new being, fully new consciousness. With all that's happened to us, oh yeah, it's there, we remember it. But it no longer has any power over us. That's what I like to live. But we're in the middle of the Lenten season. And in the traditional Christian churches, sometimes people give things up for Lent. That's the release part, right? And what do people mostly give up? Things like chocolate, wine, meat, So I'm going to invite us to look at that a little bit differently today as we talk about releasing and renewing and regenerating. There's some metaphysics about the Christmas story that Unity teaches rather than the traditional Christmas story. Easter story. I like Christmas better than Easter. The Easter story. There's three things I want to tell you about the Easter story that have to do with our talk today. And that is that we look at the cross and the crucifixion as crossing out our negativity, and the crucifixion as dying to all of the old things and thoughts and everything we've encountered. And the resurrection is taking on a new consciousness. So we're going to cross out anything in our life. We're going to rise up into a higher consciousness. So instead of giving up chocolate or meat or whatever, I'm going to invite you to do something a little more difficult, or at least difficult for me. And that is, I'm going to invite you to give up resentment and anger and fear and all those negative things that you've got that are overflowing in your cup of consciousness. That'd be a great way to honor the Easter season, don't you think? It's not too late. We're halfway through, but it's not too late. All right, so we're going to cross out all those negative thoughts. We're going to move up higher in consciousness. So I'm going to ask you to close your eyes again. We're going to cement some of these ideas into your consciousness. What I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to say something I want to release, and then I'm going to establish something better in my consciousness. So just take a deep breath in. Let it out slowly as you reconnect with the center of your being. I release confusion. I let go of chaotic thoughts that have no power over me. I choose my thoughts and how I react carefully, centered in love. All situations and relationships are new. I establish clarity now. The light of God illumines my mind, and I think clearly. As I become still, I touch the wisdom of God. In the silence, I understand. The light of God shines in my mind and heart in all I do. I release feelings of fear. Thoughts of apprehension or worry have no power over me. I release any worries or cares as I let go and let God take care of me. I establish courage now. One with God, I am confident, wise, and strong. I look beyond the appearances to the impossible dream, knowing that every dream is possible. I am strong and courageous, and I move forward to do what is mine to do. I release illness. Anything less than complete wholeness is powerless over me. Every cell in my body responds to God's healing light and love and energy. Wholeness is my birthright. I establish health now. I feel the quickening power of spirit flow through every cell of my body. I experience the perfection of renewed unconditional love, healing me and bringing me back to wholeness. I am whole, complete, and perfect. I release blame and judgment. I observe my thoughts as I become aware of any negative energy in me, and I let go of any need to blame or be right. I establish acceptance now. I recognize that divine justice is at work in every situation. I live and move and have my being in the eternal life force. I allow divine order to work in my life for the highest possible good for all. I release sadness. I let go of any emotional baggage that keeps me from my true joy. I recognize it no longer serves me, and I give it up willingly. I remember how much I have to be grateful for, and feel my consciousness rise up in joy. I establish joy now. The light of God fills my heart and mind. As I awaken to the light of Spirit in me, I experience a deep and profound joy that permeates my being. I laugh and play like a child. I am illumined with a joyful ecstasy that lights my world. I release limited thinking. I give no power to the words I cannot. I align my mind with the all-knowing mind of God. My thinking clears, and I see truth. I establish new possibilities now. I'm free and unlimited. Every thought I think is an affirmation of the beautiful, unlimited life I want to live. I give my thoughts, my words, and my actions to what I want in life. I practice unlimited prosperity, and it is so. I see unlimited possibilities everywhere. And God, I gratefully establish love in my life now. I am whole and perfect just as I am. I feel the unconditional love of Spirit welling up in me. I know that I am always loved by God, no matter what I may be experiencing now. I move forward in confidence, knowing that the Christ in me does the work in these quiet moments. I know I am loved with a love that passes understanding. For this and all the good I experience, I am grateful. And it is so. And so as we resonate with these words, as we establish the truth of our being, as we bring our awareness back into this room, we know that in this season of Lent, in this Easter season, we can release and renew and regenerate the Spirit of the living Christ within us. We know that as we let go of the old, things that no longer serve us, we come into a new awareness just how magnificent we are. We are one with the living Spirit of God. We are one with each other. And as each one of us brings our consciousness to just a little bit higher level, we can experience the greatness that we came here to be. We can know what is ours to do. We can tap into the universal life force within us. Regenerate our bodies, regenerate our minds, regenerate our consciousness. You are amazing souls. You've come here at the perfect time for you. And so I say namaste. Thank you.